All right, guys. So we're gonna spend some time now going over the half angle formulas, right? So if we want to double divide the angle by two, we can use different formulas to do that. So this don't get confused about the A. This means for the angle A divided by two, it was in quadrant one or quadrant two, we're gonna use this formula here for sine. Remember that the quadrant matters. So in quadrant one and in quadrant two, the sign is positive, right? But in quadrant three and four, the sign is negative. So super important we select the correct formula based off the quadrant. All right. So we got two for sine, we got two for cosine, one positive, one negative, and we got four for tangent. Four for tangent. So in quadrant one and quadrant three, tangent is positive. Write it on your notes. And in quadrant two and quadrant four, tangent is negative. That's the end. And for these two, it doesn't matter which quadrant they're in, you get the same answer. All right. So we're gonna do two problems together. So go and get your notes ready, get your pencil ready. Let's do these two problems here. We want to use the half angle formula to evaluate the cosine 7 pi over 8. Go ahead and make sure this is an 8 on your notes. Scratch out that 4, make it an 8. All right. So looking for the cosine 7 pi over 8. We know that our half angle divided by 2 equals to 7 pi over 8. We want to find the angle, alpha. How do we do that? We go multiply on 2 on both sides. So times 2 times 2. So we get 14 over 8, which simplifies to what? 7 pi over 4. That's the angle. So let's grab 7 pi over 4. Let's sketch it out. What quadrant would that be in? Again, be sure to pause, rewind the video as needed so you can catch up with the notes. So if you want to grab 7 pi over 4, it's going to be in what quadrant? It's almost quadrant 4. It's almost a 2 pi. It'll be in quadrant 4. Is cosine positive or negative in quadrant 4? That's right, cosine is positive. Cosine is positive. All right, so next, so we know that angle over 2 is 7 pi over 8. What quadrant is that in? Angle 2, half the angle. So we want to grab 7 pi over 8. What quadrant would that be in? That should be in what? Quadrant 2. And it's cosine positive, negative in quadrant 2. Cosine is what? Negative. This is an easy mistake. When you picking the correct formula, you're looking for the quadrant of that angle, not the quadrant of alpha. Look for the angle right there. So we're looking for quadrant 2, and cosine is negative. So we're going to use a negative formula here. All right. Always write the formula out. Write it out. Every time. We got the cosine of 7 pi over 8. What's our formula we're going to use? Negative square root of 1 plus the cosine of A over 2, or alpha. Plug it in. It's equal to negative square root of 1 plus the cosine of, remember that angle alpha is 7 pi over 4. 7 pi over 4. We know that 7 pi over 4 is in quadrant 4. So the reference angle will be pi over 4. What is the cosine of pi over 4? Use your cheat sheet that I gave you to find the cosine of pi over 4. What'd you get? Take a minute. You should get 1 over square root of 2. So let's rewrite, plug that in. So now we got negative square root of 1 plus 1 over the square root of 2 all over 2. All right. So now we got to simplify our radical here. We got a fraction inside of a fraction. We want to get rid of that. So we're going to multiply everything by the square root of 2 over 2, top and bottom. All right. So that one cancels out. So now we have the square root of 1 plus the square root of 2 all over 2 the square root of 2. That's an answer. And it should be what? Negative. Remember, it's negative. So negative square root of 1 plus square root of 2 over 2 the square root of 2. That's an answer. So take some time on your homework to practice using the half angle formulas there. Let's do one more. Flip to the back. The very last problem here. We got the tangent of alpha equals to 5 over 12 when alpha is between pi and 3 pi over 2. Think about your graph. What quadrant is this in? Pi and 3 pi over 2 should be in quadrant 3. In quadrant 3. All right, so let's graph our angle. We're going to graph our angle here. In quadrant 3. We know the tangent of alpha is 5 over 12. Remember, the tangent is what? The y over the x, right? In quadrant 3, is the y negative? The y and the x are both negative based off our x's, right? So the tangent, so y equals what? Negative 5. X would be negative 12. And we're going to use Pythagorean theorem to find our r. We got r equals the square root of 5 squared plus 25 plus 12 squared, which is 25 plus 144. 169, square root of that is 13. We should get 13. So we got a y, x, and r. Now we got to go back and find the half angle for sine, cosine, and tangent. The half angle. All right. To make our life easier, we're going to go ahead and find our 3 trig functions. So the sine is what? The y over r, so we get negative 5 over 13. The cosine is x over r, so it'd be negative 12 over 13. And the tangent is y over x, which is 5 over 12. All right. So now we're going to find the half angle formulas, all right? We got the angle, the quadrant for angle alpha. We're looking for the half angle, right? So now we're going to divide it by 2. Find the half angle. So everything by 2. By 2. So then we get pi over 2. Alpha over 2. This should be 3 pi over 4. What quadrant is that in? Should be in quadrant 2. Great job, quadrant 2. So now what we're going to do next, we're going to go back and look at which formula we're going to use. Looking for the sine and quadrant 2, so we're going to use a positive formula for that one, right? Positive formula. Write the formula every time. We got the sine of the angle divided by 2 is equal to what? Make some space here. Change the color up. The square root of 1 minus the cosine of the angle over 2. Let's plug it in now. Equal to the square root of 1 minus the cosine of A is right here. We already found that. It'll be minus negative 12 over 13 all over 2. All right, this becomes a plus. When you subtract negative, when you subtract a negative, it becomes a plus. It becomes a plus. So now we got the square root of 1 plus 12 over 13 all over 2. Let's clean up our radical, right? We're going to add the top, the numerator. So it'll be 13 over 13 plus 12 over 13. That becomes what? 25 over 13? So now we have the square root of 25 over 13 divided by 2. All right, stay with me. That equals, when you divide by 2, the same thing as multiplying by 1, we're going to keep, change, flip. It'll be 25 over 13 times 1/2. And that equals to the square root of 25 over 26. The square root of 25 is 5, so we get the 5 over the square root of 26. That's our answer. So we know that the sine of the half angle is equal to 25 or equal to 5 or square root of 26. All right, now we're going to find the cosine of the half angle. The cosine. All right. So the cosine of the half angle, looking for in quadrant 2, remember. So select the right formula, which is right here. We're going to use a negative cosine function. All right, have a great breakfast. Remember, if you need help with homework, let me know. All right, it's due tomorrow at midnight. Equal to negative square root of 1 plus the cosine of A, all divided by 2. Plug it in. Equal to negative square root of 1 plus the cosine of A we already found is here. It is negative 12 over 13 all over 2. We're going to clean up our radical, but we're going to add the numerator together, and we should get the negative square root of 1 over 13. Oops, 1 over 13 over 2. 1 over 13. I did it again. 1 over 13 divided by 2. All I did to get that, I just made the 1. This would be 13 over 13 minus 12 over 13. And we get 1 over 13. Now we got it. We're going to cross, keep, change, flip. So it'll be 1 over 13 times 1/2. And we get equals to the negative square root of 1 over 26, which equal to the square root of 1 is 1, so equal to the negative 1 over the square root of 26. That's the answer there. So again, be free to stop, pause, rewind as needed to get your answer. All right? We're not done. Now we got to find the tangent of the half angle. Find the tangent. All right. For the tangent, you can pick. Remember, you're looking for quadrant 2 for the tangent. We get to do this. We can do this formula here in quadrant 2. This one here. That works. Or we can pick one of these. It doesn't matter. Get the same answer. Which one looks easier? That one looks easier, right? Let's do that one. Either one works. So we know the tangent. All right here. Make some space here. Make sure you write small. So the tangent of the half angle is equal to, write your formula every time, equal to the sine of alpha over 1 plus the cosine of alpha. Plug it in. We know the sine is what? You're right, -5 over 13. All that over 1 plus the cosine, which is -12 over 13. I'm going to add the numerator, the denominator, add the bottom together. This becomes -5 over 13. That's a 13. I don't know why it connects that one like that. Right again. You can see it better. So -5 over 13. All over, this is what, 13 over 13. So it's subtracted. And we should get, what, 1 over 13? 1 over 13. All right, remember when we divide two fractions, we want to keep change flip. So now we got -5 over 13 times 13 over 1. 13's cancel out. We're left with -5. The answer is -5. So the tangent of the angle divided by 2 is -5. All right. So again, it's going to take some practice working with the half angle formulas. So make sure you pick the right one, select the right quadrant, and do your best. All right. Let's do one more very quickly here. One more.